Sounds like a plan of plans.
Always hung out with the girls. Always hung out with the girls. Always hung out with the girls. The girls, they accepted me.
Hi, and welcome to the Fluid Voice. I am, as usual, the first person who talks on this, Ozma In The Dark, utilizing she-they pronouns for the purposes of opossums, apparently. I am here. Oh, yeah, there's a possum behind me in the thing that I keep cutting out of, and I've got, like, I'm very white with brown hair and blue eyes and a sunburn on my chest. Anyways, I'm here as usual with Perfict. How are you, Perfict? Switching the order. Yeah, I know. Now I'm like really shy about that. And we are here as with Christy. How are you doing, Christy? Oof. That I feel like even words. I can words. Sometimes I don't think of stuff to say. Rough doesn't feels a little bit light for that for some reason. And I am here as well with ContextWrench, also known as who also is producer and deals with and well, whatever. ContextWrench, you can tell us what you do. Yeah. And today the topic is COVID-19 is still here. Because COVID-19 is still here. I know Biden said the pandemic was over. A little bit impulsive, one might say, given that the WHO does not agree. But like, just to be clear, I went to the Renaissance festival most of today, so I did not think things through, and I think COVID has more to say about this. I think ContextWrench has better ways to start us off, personally.
other types
Oh
of
dear God. I screwed up.
What did you did?
This is what happens when you spend 8 hours in a Renaissance festival. So everyone else has been muted this entire time.
Oh,
So if you could very nicely
Well, I, for one, haven't
reintroduce
said anything important.
yourselves. I'm glad I caught this now.
Well, as opposed to later, yes, this is good. We
Yeah, this is still early on. I'm just saying, ContextWrench said like a shit ton of really good stuff, and then I was like, oh wait, what if people are still? Did I remember to unmute people? And then I was like, nope.
Okay.
Okay, so Perfict, Christy, ContextWrench, just reintroduce yourself and use. What do you call it, Perfict?
pronoun citations.
Pronoun citations.
yeah, let me fix that.
Yes, the pronoun citation. And Perfict, I'm appearing as a blue owl, which I will once again point out is drawn by Ozma, and using he, him pronouns.
Okay, I'm Christy, or Christiane, or Christy, or Chris, or whatever. I don't care. Use she, her pronouns for the purposes of renting a spine and transplant. I don't want it from Emily, however, which we have established previously.
Yes, although no one was able to hear it except me. And,
we-
well, I mean, everyone
we-
here was able to hear it.
Well, I heard it.
No one outside of here was able to hear it, unfortunately.
We had established it over a year ago at this point.
Well,
Hey, people watch the show.
yeah, they in different orders. Hi, I'm M. I am also contexty wrench of sorts, and I try to do the things to get things and shows done and provide people information that they may not otherwise know about. And I'm fairly ambivalent about pronouns, but I usually default to she, her.
Oh, and also ContextWrench has taken over guesting related stuff, which is why I have her Twitter, which is one of the easiest, which is exists and is easier because I'm terrible at remembering emails. It's easier for me to promote because I don't use emails.
ContextWrench is much underselling her vital contributions to this show.
Yes.
Yes. Basically, if she didn't agree to this, I probably would have a lot more stress on my plate because it is a lot more stress. Social stuff is a lot more stressful for me. Or that particular type of social stuff.
I'm social to a fault, so there's that.
But yes, you were bringing up a lot of good information about COVID, and I have a terrible memory on this show. So,
Newsflash, despite what was said on 60 Minutes last week, COVID ain't over. And if you live in a place like I do, and or you are immuno or otherwise vulnerable to medical complications, they're
loosening the mask restrictions specifically in places where people who are immunocompromised are compelled to congregate in care facilities and so on. You were mentioning that.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to get rid of us or something.
Yeah, well, almost, yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not, it's like, this is one of those things where I'm not sure how much is them trying and how much is them not caring. if you are a casualty.
Well, the interesting thing about medical Darwinism is at a certain point, motivation kind of fails to matter. Because if you lose the ability to breathe, then, it's kind of a thing. And even like mid-pandemic and at the beginning, I'm aware of disabled advocates who were, even in places without shortages, denied medical care because basically, why would we waste a ventilator on you when a healthy person might really need that ventilator? So you're just not going to get one. You can just go somewhere else until you're not physically occupying this plane anymore. And then, medical resources can be saved and reallocated to the real whole people who really need it, which is a very interesting place to be in and that we haven't left. And as part of that, there's a renewed conversation about, okay, if you're living in a world where you don't have the expectation that social norms of distancing and other masking type requirements and PPE, personal protective equipment, are going to be implemented by other people, how do you upgrade your own usages of such things to protect yourself as best you can when you don't have even the pretext of other people being supportive? So
that gas mask's helpful.
Yes and no, because
they're not helpful for other people. I'm just saying, if the majority of disabled people were able to get free gas masks, and if ever asked about it, they could just say, it's because you smell so bad with it when you don't wear a mask.
Okay, one, you're really reminding me of a really creepy Doctor Who episode.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Are you my mommy?
Okay, fair. But yeah, no, I know something like that, because there are certain types of masks that are more helpful for the person, but not helpful for the general population, because there's a lot of different mask categories.
Right, and it also depends somewhat on your specific situation, and also how often you're able to replace the requisite parts. So
Yeah.
if you have a mask, but you can't necessarily access the filters to keep it doing the filtering of the things and the particulates, rather, how protected are you really at that point? So that's a thing. The mandated return to work at expanded rates is going to become an issue, one, for reinfection spikes, and also because just the thought just left my head. Go ahead, sorry.
Here's the thing that gets me when people talk about these things and say, there's, this reinfection rate and this sort of thing. Every time every person gets it, that is a new set of exposures and a new set of mutations that virus has been exposed to. Now, most of them are totally unimportant or counter survival. It's very rare that they have any function for it. And it's even rarer when they are positive for it, making it in some way worse, more spreadable, more infectious, longer duration on surfaces or anything like that. But they do happen. Every one of them is odds, a new chance for that to happen.
What are the chances that the person who refuses to wear a mask is also someone who doesn't believe in evolution?
Yeah, well, their belief in it doesn't change whether it happens.
Hello, Taffy Wolf.
It depends where you are. But yes, reality still exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the frustrating part about all of this is just knowing that another problem will occur because people felt comfortable enough to not wear masks. And it's only disabled people who are going to get screwed over by it. Yeah. That sort of attitude.
Well, the other thing is that you see, you go, I'm vaccinated, I'm healthy, I won't have that big a problem. It's not likely that I will get it. And they don't understand how the virus works entirely. You being vaccinated is really cool. Odds are, if you get it, you're not going to be hit by it as a real illness. The odds are your casual immune system will kill it. It will get in you, it will spread, it will have the opportunity to mutate, you will give it to other people, and then it will go away, and you will have only had it for a matter of hours. And it will be knocked out, and your immune system and the inoculation and all that will play no role in that event. But you'll have the opportunity to mutate it and spread to others who will have the opportunity to mutate it. And until you finally are somewhere in there, you're going to create a super virus out of it. It's got most of the features already. Just add a few and you'll have something really serious that'll just wipe out half the human population.
So Tavi brings up some stuff in chat. Correlation between creationist belief and refusal to wear a mask, I believe, was higher when mask mandates were more prevalent. Here in Arizona now, often my housemate and I are the only customers masking when we go out and visit businesses. Employees, I think, are about half masking, half not. That was like, this in Arizona in a highly red district. Now, I live in Minnesota, and I would say it's about the same. The employees are half masking, half not. I'm like, I think maybe 5%. I feel like about 5% of people in Minnesota are masking. Which is very far from enough. Buses nowadays rarely. So buses had free masks previously, but I think buses might not be doing that anymore here in Minnesota. I know. Yeah, it's just a problem. That said, Target does still have free masks in Target, and definitely where I donate plasma. That being said, almost no one's wearing a mask at plasma donation or other places. And generally, I'm better about masking, although I wasn't good at the Renaissance Festival, but also no one was masking, so practically no one was masking, so I didn't feel like I would be able to do much impact there. I tend to mask up generally because I'm asymptomatic with COVID, which means I can spread it without thinking, but yeah. Stuff's bad everywhere, I get the impression, possibly. I don't know, Christy, yeah. How much masking is done in New York? Or no?
I don't know. I haven't been out of the house in the past 3 months.
Okay, so you've taken the safe route.
No, it's just I haven't been out of the house. I have nowhere to go and no way to get there.
Okay, fair.
And I've already had COVID 3 times because immunocompromised. Yay.
I've had COVID at least once. And I have no way of knowing how many times I've had it because, like I said, I'm asymptomatic as far as I can tell. I was experiencing almost no symptoms, possibly no symptoms, when I tested positive for COVID. So,
well, the last time was the worst.
I remember, 2.5 years ago, the Orange Man telling me that this would be like 4 or 5 months, and then it would burn itself out.
I don't want to think about the Orange Man. Well, let's just hope the Orange Man goes away soon. Probably not by his choice.
The Orange Man gets an orange jumper.
I was thinking more like an orange lining. But,
Orange lining?
Yep.
To a box.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's old and unhealthy, so,
Well, yeah, I think it's funny when they talk about our current president as being too old with people, and they're like, what? They're less than a year apart in age. They're
14 months.
okay. So they're damn near Irish twins. So if that's an argument you're going to make, yeah, it just doesn't. I know they don't care about hypocrisy, but still. Just conceptually, and because I know how I have a fascination with how words work, okay? And yeah, I put context in my Twitter handle for a reason, god damn it, because it's like it matters and stuff.
Words matter.
Words matter, and the way and the order in which you say them also matters. Nothing happens in a vacuum, at least not on this planet. Once you're outside the atmosphere, then yeah, you're actually in a vacuum, and that's a different tangent. But just the idea that we're all here together on the planet, sharing a finite amount of space and a finite amount of resources. And the idea that we don't know where the next revolutionary idea that really changes things is going to come from. And, maybe that's with somebody who has differing brain pathways or traditionally limited physical abilities, and that's how they were able to come up with whatever the next idea is or could be. And if we just say, oh, well, you're not relevant because you don't move in a certain way, and then, what are we cutting off to spite our fate at that point? Also, with this virus in particular, there's been a relatively large amount of quote unquote pre-COVID young and healthy people who've either contracted the virus, had symptoms, or had minimal symptoms, and then acquired symptoms secondarily. So people who were athletes prior who can no longer run the way they did before. People who now have brain fog and chronic fatigue at levels that they never experienced before contracting COVID, even if the symptomatic period they had was either short, or relatively non-existent. So this is going to be something that, one way or the other, even if COVID were gone tomorrow, we would still have to reckon with, as a society, the consequences and the wreckage of what COVID has left us, even to this point.
Yes, and Tabby, that is a genuine. With what ContextWrench brought up, and I know she generally is good with research, not always, but most of the time. Nobody's perfect, but there's probably a decent possibility of you getting long COVID. That wouldn't surprise. I mean, anyone could get long COVID at this point. And it doesn't help. Just the attitude doesn't help. It's the short-term fix things attitude. And that's not how things work, and especially given that there are two very bad potential outbreaks that have the capability of ending up as pandemics if we get too reckless. Those being polio and monkeypox,
which is not sexually transmitted. I don't care what anyone says. It's not. It's physical contact, which does not include bodily fluids. So there.
Yes, but and polio, while isn't a huge risk right now, that's the problem isn't right now. The problem is polio should be gone, and the fact that it has had resurgence means that there is a risk of mutation. Which was brought up by Perfict, the mutation risk.
Yeah.
Either before or after I realized the mic was the voices were muted. One or the other.
It's the mutation risk is a huge thing on the masks and all of that. Then in getting it beaten back into a lower state is a huge deal. That's why people are getting reinfected. That they had it, they and so on, and they then are getting reinfected. It's the same thing, but changed just enough that you don't have its code in your immune system, so you didn't kick it immediately, and you didn't kick it with your casual strength, and you end up getting it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, there's always the possibility. Well, no, I was gonna say something that I disagree with immediately, with relation to trying to blame long COVID for aspects of sleep apnea, worsening aspects of sleep apnea. I think that has more to do with the traumatic brain injury, likely, and I don't think there's enough information to suggest having an asymptomatic COVID experience would necessarily be likely for that.
Well, it doesn't sound unlikely.
Yeah, I don't want long COVID. I just want long green. Or barring that, I'll take Lauren Green back.
I get the impression if long COVID was going to affect, given the asymptomatic aspect, probably not the lungs. I would suspect it'd have more of an effect on heart, or other organs. Although jaw strength would be a factor, but given that that relates to the frontal lobe, and that's where I had the traumatic brain injury, there's too much overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorting it all out would be difficult. But yeah.
Oh, yes. Tevin brings up a good point. Reminder, because of mutation stuff, new updated boosters were released after Labor Day. So go check availability and reliability with professionals in your local area.
Yep, I'm on it. I can walk to the CVS from here.
Yeah, I need to schedule that and the flu shot. I just need to schedule it and go do it. I'd been meaning to earlier, but life was beating me up relatively badly. I suspect decent therapy has caused sertraline to have a more negative effect than positive effect on me. So, given the number of depressive episodes I've had recently, and so I'm testing out not taking that medication. Or I have been past couple days. I'll find out in a few more days. So far things have been relatively alright.
Good.
Only a little bit of dizziness. Eligibility. Oh yeah, no, that was the thing. I wanted to get it at Walgreens. Because Walgreens is giving out $10 if you get it. CVS is only giving out $5.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Even though Walgreens is my pharmacy, I can walk to CVS and I can't walk to Walgreens.
True, but
They're only 2 blocks apart, but
It'll cost you
can't
more than
make it
$5 to get a taxi. So
yeah, I can't make it that extra
CVS
bit.
is a better deal.
well, yeah, I mean, okay, that works for you. But if you have like a bus like I have a bus pass, so getting to, and I don't want to walk to CVS. The CVS is like a mile and a half
Fancy
away.
you live in a city with public transportation and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, not just that. I live in like the center of the Twin Cities, so like, I am next to 2 buses that can pretty much get me to quite a lot of places.
Well, you never guess where I'd have to catch the bus for to get to the other one.
Walgreens.
Right in front of CVS, yeah.
Oh,
So, and because I live right on the border, it's suburban rates.
Oh, yeah, no, they should make vaccinations free. Tavi, I could go into the detailed information, but yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, they should make a lot of medication free, but they should definitely make vaccinations free to help prevent the spread of pandemics. I know it's this weird concept. I know they've been giving out the COVID shots free at least, and maybe some places give it out, flu shots out free, and some places don't. I don't know because I have insurance that covers it, so I can't tell.
Depends
But
where you are.
yeah,
And the flu shot's a great thing, but generally speaking, unless you have already discussed it with your healthcare professional, don't double up on vaccines at the same time. Your body needs time to build immunity. So yes, getting more than one vaccine for different diseases is good, but stacking them all on the same day is probably not the best thing for your immune system. So make informed decisions.
yes. I had thought they had said that was generally okay, but I thought I'd heard that was generally okay. But yes, you're right. You should make informed decisions.
It might be okay for you because your immune system seems to be fairly robust, but
Well, yeah, no, that is true. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Come back to the other later. Pharmacists have said that? Okay. Well, if professionals have said that sort of thing, it's probably a good idea, even for me, to space it out just to be sure.
right. I still can't get over it. There's somebody who I went to school with, and like right after he and his wife had finally become pregnant after like 10 years of trying to do so, he ended up with COVID and in a coma and didn't get to meet his kid. So, and he was somebody who was very like stereotypically young and stereotypically healthy and stereotypically extremely athletic.
Oh, yeah.
And he went from 0 to comatose in like a week and never woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's all a random chance.
Well, it's semi-random. Like, we don't necessarily know all the internal causes. It's not as random as we like to think it is. And fatigue is real in the sense of having to think about things about, like, your own safety and PPE and planning logistics of how to do things safely or not. Is there a fatigue that comes with that alone? Yes, there is. But just being tired of wearing masks or considering the needs of others is not necessarily a reason to stop doing it. And that doesn't mean that the world has to stop fully, because, you know, we still need to eat, and, you know, we still need running water and all that good stuff. But still, I think we need to find a better way of balancing, and we haven't found a sustainable way to do that yet. And just declaring it over and saying, okay, well, it's over now. And
Yeah, that's not helpful at all.
Well, I think that the way to sell it is going, I don't know how long it will take. I really don't know. There are probably immunologists who could give you a much better idea how long it might take and how long they think it will take and all those sorts of things. But they're not going to be any more absolute in their certainty about how long it will take to follow these programs and restrict it, and how effective these restrictions that we're going to be imposing are is part of it. The more draconian we are in the masks and so on, the faster it will get done. But the important thing is you will be improving the world that your children will inherit. The wearing the masks, it'll be done by then, and it will be a much better world for you having done it, rather than a plague-ridden world that they will be inheriting if you don't do it.
right.
Yeah, but if they're your children, then clearly they have superior genes and will survive this, and just the less worthy people will die off. Sorry, this is just
only plague-resistant.
Right. And like the CDC director said a couple of months ago, or a few months ago, rather, well, you know, it's really quite, there's reason to be optimistic. I don't remember the exact quote, but basically it was, there's reason to be optimistic because most of the people who are dying from COVID had 2 or 3 or more comorbidities. So those people were unwell to begin with. So, you know,
yeah, it's fine that they died.
yeah, they would have died anyway. So really, you know, we're just kind of clearing the decks a bit.
hate that attitude, and because it's bad. No, it's. I mean, like, everyone's gonna die eventually. You never know what you're gonna die of. Like, fuck off with this bullshit.
Wait, are you saying that the medical system as it currently exists in the West, and particularly this country at this point, because this is where we're referring to, is relatively ableist?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Also, Tevi, that's a good comment. Yeah, what's a little genocide against disabled people? That is far too much the attitude. But like, the reality of the matter is, like, you could hypothetically be traveling home, traveling to work, and I don't know, maybe head across the street to Walgreens to pick up some food for work and get hit by a vehicle. And, like, you can't predict stuff like that. And, like, how are you... Like, it's not... Also, why? There's so much why. I mean, I know why.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I saw a guy. I mean, this was way back on the this 2-year span, and when we were sort of at the height of the medical crunch of the medical resources, and he was saying that they were having to triage in part based on the person's, I'm trying to think of how he phrased it, potential contribution to future contribution to society.
Oh my god, that's the most disgusting phrase I've ever heard.
And I was like, wow, just coming right out and saying it. You know, but he was trying to be, portraying the medical community sympathetically. And I was like, you have not really succeeded there. That's not.
Well, for most people, it probably would have succeeded, or for far too many people, it would have succeeded.
That's generally the attitude of the medical community. They just don't normally say it with words. Which is, again, one of the reasons why it's like, no, I get really heated really easily, as none of you have noticed about the pervasiveness of the overcoming or passing narrative and how that is shoved down everybody's throats by, particularly, but not limited to, the medical system in this country. Well, you're only successful if you can make your physical presence or other presences non-disruptive to other people. And if in any way you have to request accommodation or mitigations that are at all noticeable to anybody else, then you failed, or you didn't want it bad enough. And you really shouldn't scare the normies, because, there might be children present and they might be scarred for life.
Bringing back DSM-4 memories for transitioning.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Sorry. Also, for autism, but that's a different. Yeah.
I'm sorry, my autism was mostly ignored. I had to fight to eventually get a diagnosis.
And my mother, who got me the diagnosis, is still swearing that I'm not, which it's like.
Yeah, well, we're of the generation where they felt that, autism, if properly ignored, would go away.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, at that point, only boys get autism, and you just let them run around enough, and then it just kind of evaporates.
Well, I have the other one.
Yeah, but still.
Well, that's one of the things. It's complicated, but yeah.
It's always complicated.
I got diagnosed at 17, and it was right around the time I was coming out. So they checked me for both, which I thought was pretty, for 1982 was pretty up there. And so, yeah.
Okay, well.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm having trouble talking.
It's okay. Now I'm
I
going to rant.
I apologize to the audience. I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm having to take enough medication right now to kind of make me a little.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I'm going to rant about the fact that they wanted to make sure you had to make sure to pass as a woman or try to pass as a woman and live that way consistently for a bunch of months before they would do any transition related stuff, and it took quite a bit for them to add hair removal, and there was a lot of pressure because the DSM-4, there, depending on where you were or whatever, there was pressure for you to make sure to be heading towards bottom surgery.
Yeah.
So if that wasn't what you wanted, some people ended up forcing themselves to move down that path so they could remain on HRT. And the passing thing has definitely been far too prevalent in society.
And is the basis on which they say, well, you just go with stereotypes of being a woman. No, that's them. Thankfully, that got changed, but that's also what you're ranting about, so...
Also, Tavi's suggests pain gaining solidarity, so you're not alone.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, mobility aid user solidarity, so I think that fits Christy and ContextWrench to some degree. Right?
To some degree, I don't use a wheelchair unless it's a situation where that would be necessary.
Well, yeah, but mobility aid is a broad term.
Oh, okay. I have a cane.
Yeah, and I probably will have a cane in the future.
Yeah.
For just to make sure I can go to the bathroom easier after bottom surgery.
Oh, well, yeah. That's... I'm staying at my mother's for that.
And yeah, no, canes are cool, but the donut seats are not the coolest, but I will have to acquire myself one of those. And honestly, I probably should have had a cane after the before going back after the traumatic brain injury. I was barely at full. It was one of those things where I could do basic mobility stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean I should have done it without a cane. Oh, hi, Indigenous Heritage. Yeah, no. You use the cane too? That's awesome. I don't know, canes are cool. There was a bunch of canes also at the Renaissance Festival, although now I feel bad because we're talking about COVID and not a lot of people masked up.
Well, but that was an outside event, so it's not quite as bad because at least, you know, you're outside and there's different levels of.
Yeah, and they made some accessibility effort.
Yeah.
Although the ground was dusty and they had handicap parking and there were a few people who used chairs there because the Renaissance Festival is most likely to get the queer nerds.
I walked with a cane for years after my accident. But eventually I didn't have to, so.
Oh, also for Hurricane going away, sorry.
Sorry, it's okay.
I'm paying attention to chat.
It's always a balancing act to figure out how much you need to rely on assistance to maintain function, and then when you need it for convenience versus when you don't is always quite a balancing act. And then if I really need something and I'm somewhere, do I have people around me who I can trust to render assistance at levels if they become necessary?
Yeah, and that was definitely more the case when I had roommates.
Cats weren't super helpful when you had me.
No, the cats were not super helpful.
So, we're now at the hour mark, and I'm going to hijack here for a moment. That thing I brought up, I watched a video right before the show, and it was in my feed, and it's labeled, Brandon Shea resolution at Ohio State Board of Education, okay? From the 20th. And I was like, well, this is going to be about probably, textbooks or something, and, stuff that I'm generally going to be in my feed because of those interests. And it was about trans issues and trans people and all kinds of things, and his wanting the board to resolve not to give in to the wokeism. And it was really kind of horrible. And the part of what made it horrible is I don't think he's evil. I think he's just bought into it. I think there are other people who I might label as evil. I think he's not guilty of the more sinister aspects of prejudice.
Yeah, the useful idiot.
Yeah, yes, the useful idiot. And that he is just and but that doesn't make anything he's talking about any the less terrible and vile, and the stuff he's talking about and promulgating. But people should take they just go watch it, and you'll see it's a hot 12 minutes or something. What was it? 12 minutes, 42 seconds. Not bad.
I refuse to promote creepy works.
I don't. His channel is not huge. It's got a couple of thousand subscribers. He's the video's got less than 1,000 views. So I don't think you need to worry about turning him into a superstar by going and watching it. But it's really. It's upsetting. It's upsetting what he's talking about, what he's saying during it.
Yeah, and Tavi brings up the important reminder about woke being an AAV word originally used by black people to describe being aware of systemic oppression to each other. So when people use woke as an insult.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is in part of it. And other things that he talks about and where there are the fictions that he seems to believe are actual and he's very clear are literal. And I'm pretty sure are fictional. But even if they were literal, what does that have to do with what you're talking about and that sort of thing? Well, he talks about that they've literally got litter trays in classrooms for children who are confused and think their dogs are cats to use. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I really don't think that that's something that's going on. It's certainly not prevalent.
Yeah, yeah, although my first off, like and subscribe if you're enjoying the show. And if you have anything to say, doesn't matter what it is.
My way.
You can go ahead and you can go ahead and comment on the video, even if it's just shouting a possum. Like it's still a valid comment, probably.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, that's basically what I'm saying. If you want to, it's all up to you. Consent.
If what I'm saying makes you mad, downvote the video.
Say those three magic words: like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, but I wanted to make it more interesting. I've heard people say it more interesting.
Well,
Let's talk about for the next half hour. Let's just talk about like, comment, and subscribe now.
I am paying a lot of attention to this guy in Britain who was fired from being a math teacher for harassing a trans student. And yes, my language is loaded, but frankly, because I couldn't read the Daily Mail article, I didn't know the guy's name. So
Even how vague you usually are, I'm willing to go that you probably nailed this.
Was that the guy who was fired for showing up in the school when he wasn't supposed to?
That's the Canadian asshole who's making fun of trans people, and no one seems to see that.
No, there was,
What? No. There's a person in Britain who got they were being a jerk to a trans student. And then they kept showing up in class when they weren't supposed to, because they were given a temporary leave from the school, paid leave from the school, and then they stayed in the class. They kept showing up in the classroom, and then they got in legal trouble because of that, or whatever.
No, not that guy. That's in Florida. That's not in the UK.
that's a different Florida guy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Apparently this is just a common thing people do.
Yeah, this one, he refused to use the kid's name, and it's not a big deal, but apparently he was warned, and he keeps saying it's a safeguarding issue. He has to tell the parents. The kid is 17 years old and should know what their parents would think about it. So it's a safeguarding issue not to tell them, but irrelevant. As soon as I saw the guy's name, it was like, oh, wait, that son of a curse word redacted.
Sorry, you can't redact. No, you can't.
That guy is all over Twitter being like one of the lunatic conspiracist transphobes. or was before his account got yanked. So it's like, well, I'm thinking there was a lot more going on there. Just a smidge.
Why?
He's one of the ones who thinks that being trans is a conspiracy to indoctrinate children.
But yeah, so Enoch Burke.
Oh, that guy. Oh, okay.
That's what
a
I was
different
thinking
guy.
about.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, that was Ireland.
That was Ireland. Yeah.
The other guy is Kevin Swindon.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I remember correctly, they're both evangelicals.
Yep. And
Yeah.
this guy is Kevin Lister. If you've been on Twitter as a trans person in the past 5 years, you have run across him.
Is this the argument that I cannot call trans people by their proper name because it would be a lie to God?
Yeah, I'm actually having a guy who's really trying to. I have two salient examples, and they have nothing to do with the transition. There was a kid in my school, in my class, called Judge. His first name was Judge, and he had been called Lucky through his life, including on his semi-hit records. And all the teachers just called him Lucky because that's what he was called. If that guy had insisted on calling him Judge and made a big deal about it, that would be roughly the same thing. He couldn't call him Lucky because he didn't get the parents' permission to do so.
But yeah, that didn't happen.
But yeah, so in other words, explain to me why that's different.
Well, yeah. I was just thinking about the fact that I was growing up. I was in a class with two people with the same first name as me, and so all three of us had to choose one of either the full name, first name, or nickname.
Yeah. Well, my legal last name in high school was not Abbey, but it was a same name as a prominent performing family. And one day, one of my teachers took it upon himself to call me by the name. I know you guys know what the name is, but I don't ever say it in public. So,
and there's a 50-50 chance I've forgotten it because I always forget Perfict's name.
That's true.
Perfict's name is Perfect.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
So one day one of my teachers took it upon himself to call me by the name of the patriarch of the performing family, which is something I was not in a position to be happy with at the time, because it was at a very key bad time in my life, and it was right around the time I was about to transition. And it caused me a lot of problems. And that's a teacher choosing what to call me because that's what they thought they felt compelled to do.
Yeah, also God doesn't choose names.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Names are chosen by cultural choices. In fact, in some cultures you choose your own name.
And also, if you believe God is omniscient and makes no mistakes, then how can you lie to them anyway?
That's true too.
Yeah, it's just an excuse. It's an excuse to say I don't want to do that, and I have my reasons.
Well, Tavi brings up basic respect. It's an excuse to be disrespectful.
Yeah, I was told when I was in school, for much more inane reasons, that I couldn't actually know my own middle name because my middle name is part of a familial last name. So because my middle name was not a first name that random teacher person recognized, that I must be wrong about my own name. No. I know.
No.
I did have to be bribed to use it, but I knew what it was. No, that can't be your middle name because that's not a first name. Well, that's the name my mother gave me, and that's the name that's on my birth certificate. No, that can't be right. What? What?
What?
You must be wrong. I'm going to call your mother. Okay, go ahead.
Well, sorry if you haven't encountered this before, honey, but
no, again,
Yeah,
my birth name was one Christophe Abbey. You know, that's a thing.
Well, and there are people who have like who have first names for their first and last name, and like you have first names for middle names too, and last names for middle names. Middle names are middle names. I have two middle names, neither of which I'm going to give more information now that I think about it.
No.
Everyone in Buffalo has the middle name of Mary or Murray, so that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a Catholic thing.
Yeah.
In my grandfather's family, all the girls had a first name of Mary and all the boys had a first name of Joseph. That was the rule.
Yay.
And you knew who knew him from where because sometimes they called him by Joe and sometimes people would call up and call him for something else. Call him something else. And it was like, oh, that's an uncle or a cousin from that side of the family. Oh, okay.
And if you're curious what my two middle names are, by the way, clearly they are in the. I think we've established Ozma in the Dark, so those are my middle names.
But I thought your name was Dark Ozark.
No, we're not going to go back to that. No.
Fine. Spoil sport.
Social justice alchemy. Trying to change my name accidentally.
They also call Perfict Prefect. So I don't know how
Prefect Perfect.
yeah,
That sounds cool.
I get that a lot. It's because it's misspelled. It's the misspelled perfect. It's supposed to be a self-contained joke.
Yeah, but Prefect Perfect. That you've got like an official title then. But yeah, back to COVID.
Yeah. Well, or
Tying it back in.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's just well, no, we don't need to tie it back in yet. I just couldn't think of what to say, so I decided to say tying it back to COVID, and then my brain just like faded into nothing.
it's the medical system or the lack thereof of a system is interesting. And it's very interesting to me at this point how, especially in America, we have this idea of rugged individualism simultaneous with somehow you should be completely individual, but the idea of like claiming your own bodily autonomy is something that is majorly disruptive and offensive to other people.
Yep.
And that's a head trick. Like, okay, well, if we're all individuals and
we're all individuals.
like that.
Life of Brian. I just.
Then how do you square telling people what their name is? We're all individuals and
we're all individuals.
Yes, no, except for bodily autonomy and actual functional self-determination. Okay, but when I figure that out, I guess I'll have written a great American novel or something. Because
I can probably give you a good idea. It's called White Men Should Get to Do Whatever They Want, no matter how that negatively affects other people, and all the others, whether they not be cishet straight men, they don't matter.
No, but don't forget, especially for the purposes of this conversation, you have to be cishet, white, and non-disabled. You have to get the full gambit, or none of it matters. If you miss any one of them, you're just completely.
If you miss any one of those, you don't get a ventilator.
Correct. Even when, and I read an article like 6 months or a year into COVID, where they were supposedly rationing ventilators, but then they found pallets of them that were unused, that had been sent to medical waste to be destroyed. It's like, oh, we don't have enough to go around because you're like not using a crap ton of them for anybody. Great. That's super effective use of resources.
Yes. Well, but you understand, you have to keep track of them, and then you have to distribute them and so on. It's not just the resources, it's also the allocation of them. That's all very complicated. You wouldn't understand.
And yes, and it's the implementation too. So you have to distribute them, and then you have to have people that can turn them on and off, and then you have to have people that will maintain them, and then you have to make sure that you have an uninterrupted power supply the whole time. Otherwise, we could just send it to the landfill preemptively, because that makes sense.
Ooh, Beast Nation brings up a good point. Don't forget Christian and conservative, and even then, only the rich ones were considered worthy of fully human treatment and respect.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the Protestant work ethic, yay.
I don't want to think about the Protestant work ethic.
No, don't worry about it. They don't either. They just presume it.
With that said, I guess final words on COVID.
It's bad.
Perfect.
If you want to be done with this, wear a mask. Just wear the mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and we can get to the end of this thing.
ContextWrench?
Even if we don't get to the end of it that way, we need to do a better job of like taking care of each other. And that means doing some things that are not necessarily ideal or pleasant. Doing it anyway, because sometimes that's what living in a society means. And you don't have to like it, you just have to do the things.
Yes.
And I didn't tell think this was a thing. So there.
Yes, and since I am the person who runs the show, I will mention my last words last, which is just that. Yeah, you wear a mask for other people, and people are stronger in groups than alone. So keep your friends alive.
Can I climb in on the end of that?
Okay, fine. I'll let you. Only because I like you.
Okay. Yeah, wear the mask for other people. Wearing a mask does nearly nothing for you. When doctors wear masks to do surgery, they don't put masks on the patient to protect them from what the doctor's breathing out. They put masks on the doctor. It's about what you breathe out, not about what you breathe in. It's to protect people from the virus that that inhabits you for an hour and a half when you mutate it and so on that we talked about earlier in the show. It's to cover that virus from getting out and into other people.
Yes. And with that said, Perfict, where can people find you?
Well, there's right here and anywhere on the Discords of the Rumpus Room or the Fluid Voice Discord, and there are other ones as well. If you send me a text with an @ it'll ping me, and I will probably show up, or I'll at least find it eventually.
ContextWrench? What do you want to promote about yourself?
Oh, whatever. I don't know. I am here often, and I have apparently been dragged onto Twitter for the first time since about 2005. So you could find me at ContextWrench on Twitter, and there's that. And also, final on the topic of if you don't think you're disabled now, who knows how many rounds of COVID it'll take, or God knows what else, and she ain't telling what you are disabled by in the future. And if you live long enough, you'll probably be disabled by something. So disabled rights are human rights, and if you don't get that, then that's going to be a problem for everybody.
Christy, where can people find you? And is there anything you want to promote?
Just ask around. You'll find me. I'm on Twitter. Christy Abbey. ABBEY. That's it. I have nothing.
There are links to previous content that you have done, which is enjoyable, and you also made. You also allowed the usage of a good song that you made for the intro for the show, so you do have talents and you do matter.
Thank you. I'm sorry. It's pain. It has nothing to do with. I'm not. I think I think I am the bomb, as they used to say. It's kind of. I'm just not in the mood to say it loud.
Fair. My brain is used to worrying about. I am far too aware of people who have experienced depression, and I have experienced depression myself quite a bit, so that is my knee jerk. To just be like, go the trying to be supportive for that reason, and probably other reasons as well. I don't know. Regardless, you can find me here. You can find me on. I should be on my channel again, probably doing my YouTube channel again. Probably talking about. I'm probably going to be delving into the first chapter of the awful thing that had far too many prologues. And then you can find me on Twitch. Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday and Thursday from 12 to 7, and Monday from 3 to 7, and I just use Central Time, so I apologize for... I don't have the spoons to sort out time differences. Usually, a little over an hour after Tuesday streams, I will be in my Discord, and I plan to do about an hour and a half before the show. I plan to be on the Fluid Voice Discord and just hang out. People want to show up or people don't. I'll be listening to music or something. I don't know. Just a thought process. I finally figured out a plan for that. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen today because the Renaissance Festival.
Yep. Having to juggle the Renaissance Festival.
Other people were juggling knives and flaming stuff.
Oh, come on. I just made a cute little...
Okay, but like... My brain's still on the events that happened recently. I took videos of people juggling flaming
stuff today.
Yeah, I saw someone catch a flaming a knife with a flaming handle. It was really cool.
I have a flaming handle in that I'm openly bi and trans.
That's what she said.
With that said, your voice matters. Your life matters. And your ass matters. No,
that matters good.
And you matter.
Jesus. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.